Okay, there's the time on my clock. Good morning, everybody. I hope you've all got a nice cup of warm coffee in front of you, and we can do today's meeting. I found some answers from last week on some of the sessions. I will handle those. I've extended the demo with that last week a little bit. What I've said I'm going to do this week initially is to cover more on APIs, but I'm not an API guy, so I started chatting to Chris, and he showed me there's a whole lot more complexities from the API side that makes it a lot more compelling reason. So what I'm going to do from an API demo, I'm just going to create a proxy on the IBM cloud that's going to point to the service we created last week. And then Chris promised me that he will do me a session, a more extensive session, and he will cover the other areas of API Connect as well. So what I've replaced that with is I've extended the demo on request from one of our customers that dialed in last week to also cover an MQ. So I'm going to send a message to MQ. I'm going to show how it arrives there, and I'm going to show the MQ Explorer for my on-premise. Good morning. Hello. So, and then I'm going to show you as the messages arrive from the queue. So let's start the meeting. By the way, this meeting is recorded. What I do is I work the recording afterwards a little bit, cut out the dead spots and so on, and then I'll post it to this area down here, so if you guys want to have a look again. Also, the demo from today, I will actually make a recording of the complete demo, complete build from scratch, so that you can see that as well. So answers from previous sessions, we had a question around this field when we add a bar file to add connect. It says number of replicas, and the question was, can we control this field from inside the bar file itself? So the answer is no, you can't control it from inside the bar file itself. This field is actually the number of the replicas from the Helm chart that deploys behind the scenes, and you can't control it from the bar file. For instance, that additional instances field you can put on a bar file. What we can do, however, is that in a CI/CD world, you can automatically deploy this bar file out there, and then you can actually control this number of replicas that gets controlled from there, from inside the CI/CD. And Andy Garrett said he's got a demo for me, and I'll try and get a demo for him. Currently, it uses Jenkins, but IBM is busy rebuilding that with Tecton in the background. So unfortunately, no, we can't control it from inside the bar file, but we can control it from the CI/CD pipeline. The question was, can you import a version 10 bar file into IBM App Connect on IBM Cloud? It used to be like that, but not anymore, because they've moved on with the versions. So no, you can't. You need to convert it to a ACE version 11 bar file. There's more than one way of doing that. You can import a bar file into the version 11 toolkit, and you can create a new bar file from that. Or you can run MQSI backup on version 10 and MQSI extract components against the version 10 backup, and that will convert from version 10 to version 11. You can also MQSI extract components must be on version 11. I've got a typo there. And then another question, what happens when the container in App Connect fails and the backend restarts it again? Will it have the same access point? Yes, it will have the same access point. It will come back exactly the same. So as was explained to me, is that the container's IP and port is not exposed. So it's the proxy will handle the exposed IP port to the container IP port mapping. So if there's a failure somewhere in the backend, the container fails and it starts up again, it will have exactly the same point again in there. So that is how you would expect it to work. Okay, let's go into the demo environment. So from the integration modernization, of course, it's a moving landscape, as all of you know. And there's three pillars in there, and these three pillars really is the API economy, the agile integration architecture that does as application integration, and then the event-driven enterprise that's based on messaging and events. And today we can actually briefly touch on all three of those components in the demo. We'll do an API point, we'll do App Connect Enterprise, we'll take the bar file and deploy it in App Connect on the cloud. And then we will use MQ to send a message from inside this bar file to an MQ environment. So what I've done is I've created a demo inside ACE, the toolkit. I've exported that bar file and I've imported the bar file inside my IBM App Connect. From this environment, I'm going to create now an API, just a proxy. Nothing fancy in that area. I'll allow Chris to do the more fancy things. That's just going to point to this environment. Then I'm going to use Postman to actually call this proxy with a small input data set. When this application runs in the backend, it's going to return the answer for me to Postman, but it's also going to put a message into IBM MQ, and I will then look at the message from inside the MQ Explorer running on my desktop locally, as well as from the MQ console running in the IBM Cloud environment. So from here, let me show you what I've done inside the MQ Explorer. You will see it's a little bit extended from last time. I've added the MQ output node into the flow. The rest is still 100% exactly the same. I will do a complete demo rundown from this in a recording showing every single step I've done, but it's just too long to do in a session like this in the morning. But as you can see, this MQ is pointing to a queue with the name def.q.1. My MQ connection is going to be an override by a policy. You see there policy URL is configured for this node. If I go to the policy, I have to find a policy with the name of MQ chit-chat in that environment. And that will give me the access into the queue. So I've created the policy on the App Connect, and I will show you where I've created that. So the flow is basically the same. I've just added a little node that's going to talk to MQ. If I look at IBM App Connect, you guys have seen that last week I've created my application here. I've imported it now already. To do that, of course, I've clicked on New and I've imported the bar file over here. If I click on the running application in App Connect, you will see right at the bottom is my URL, and this is the URL I'm going to use in my API Connect to connect to this flow. What I've done is I've removed the authentication just to make it a little bit faster to set up the demo and to make it run. Otherwise, you need to continuously copy the user ID and the password in there as well. So let's have a look at the API Connect. Inside API Connect, when I start it up, there's nothing defined in it. It gives me a few areas to go and create APIs, and I allow Chris to play on the right-hand side. Okay, so in my area, I'm going to allow Chris to run through this area for me in a demo over there to give a traditional API feeling of opening an app. So I'm just going to create an API proxy. I'll click on that area. What I've done from App Connect in this area is that if you go into the API Explorer, it allows you to download the OpenAPI document that points to this endpoint that is running in App Connect. So I'm going to use that file that I've saved from over there by importing the YAML from it. And there's my YAML file. So it's going to add some information to my environment. It shows me its import is successful. And I'm going to grab that endpoint that it's created for me. At the bottom, there's a copy over there. and I know I need to call calculate as last time. As you can see, it's picked up that there's no API verification that needs to be done, so I just need to hit the create button. Give it a second, and there is my API created. Here is the endpoint for that API. It'll show me some stats of what is running over there. If I grab this endpoint and I open Postman, and I replace this one over here, /calculate, and now if the demo guards is on my side, I will send this message out there. It will return with an answer of 6. So what I've done now is I've called the API endpoint that was a proxy pointing to my App Connect flow that was running this one over here. And then this flow is executed. Two things. The first thing, it is returned for me, the answer in here is an answer of 6. And I'm going to show you that it's posted an MQ message as well. Let me get to my MQ message. If I show my console, there's my MQ console. It's actually used as def q.1. You see the depth is now 1 message over there. So it's the one I've created right now in there. Let me refresh the screen. There's 1. So if I go back to Postman, I send again. And I refresh here. You'll see there's now 2 messages in there. Also, inside the normal MQ Explorer that's running on-premise on my machine here, I've created a connection to the queue manager running on the cloud, and I've got my normal MQ Explorer in this area. If I refresh here, you will see that this queue here, there's that 2 messages sitting inside the queue. So we followed the process, and it was possible to send a message to a queue manager on the queue. I will extend this now for a future demo to now send this message back to a queue manager that's running on-premise. And if you followed last week's demo, you know that was quite a simple setup, and I've added a few simple steps for today to just extend it a little bit further. Okay, I'm going to throw the floor open for any questions, suggestions.
Francois, can we have a look at the content of that YAML file that you imported?
Oh, yes, of course. So
okay.
Let me go there. This the YAML file. There's the content. Is that big enough on the screen?
Yeah, thank you.
So you see the endpoint is calculate sitting here. There's the URL, the base area, as well as the section it calls in there. So between this one, that one, and this one, I know exactly how to build up that URL. And it's got a definition of the fields that's going in there. That is the input data, and here is my output data coming back here. So if you look back inside Postman, you see there's the answer that they mention over here. The answer is type integer, and there's my 2 input fields sitting over here. So that YAML file was automatically generated. I'll show you from where exactly did I get that YAML file. If I go into my App Connect, go to show my API Explorer, there's the download. I click on this download button, and exactly there it's given me that. So if I just open it here to show you that is actually the one, it's regenerated it back for me. All right, so let's have a look at the MQ portion in there. How's the MQ looking on the IBM cloud? So when you create an MQ service out there, it's going to ask you to create a queue manager as well. It will show you there's no queue managers inside the MQ service. And this one is now spinning around. There you go. So you can see I've created a queue manager, queue manager 1 in the IBM cloud in the United Kingdom. It's giving me some statistics that is running, and I can administer it, and view some details. If I go into the viewing the details, it actually gives me a ton of information about how to connect to this queue manager. So it'll give me the name of the queue manager, which location it's sitting in. This one is very important. What is my host name? So if I, for instance, want to connect to this queue manager from anywhere, I need to use this host name over here. Now, typically, when you run a local queue manager, you would use port 1414. It automatically gives you a port to use, 31729 in that area. Also, there's the messaging REST endpoint if you want to use REST calls to put and get messages. And if you want to create your own admin environment, there's the admin REST endpoint that you can use over here as well. From an administration point of view, there's 3 ways you can administer this queue manager. The first one is MQ console. So if I click on launch the MQ console, it takes me into this kind of world where I can say go and create a new queue. Pick a queue manager. Which one do I want to use? It's that one. Which kind of queue do I want to create? I want to create, say, a local queue. I give it a queue name, ABC. Do I need to enable put and get? Yes, the maximum number of messages and message length over there. And of course, there will, you can later adjust all of the normal settings around it. So I've created a queue, and if I go to manage this environment now, it pops me straight into the queue. So there's the queue I've just created inside this environment here. I can go into the settings for this queue, and I can edit, and then I can change any of my normal settings that I'm used to having inside a queuing environment. Back to queues. It gives me a little bit of stats over here, so full capacity, user-defined system, which queues is greater than 50% capacity and less than 1% capacity. Most of the queues, I've got 7 user-defined queues, these ones, and 46 system queues is making up my load over there. I can also do my topics from here for PubSub. There's my subscriptions. And in my communication area, this is where I would set up my channels. So you can see there's my normal listener running internally on port 1414. Of course, you've seen how it exposed that 327 something port for me. There's my queue manager channels running here. Nothing, and my app channels, if I've created any of this, so there's my server connection channel. So you can see this one is running because I guess this application, all right, is actually keeping that link open for me. Then I can also manage my normal queue manager with the MQ Explorer. So I've set this one up now already, but I can go in here. And you can see if I go to my connection details, there's my properties. In here, you can see there's my queue manager name, QM1. There is that URL with a port 31729 or where to connect to. I will use the cloud.admin.svrcon. No security access. I must specify a user ID. So inside my cloud world, there is a user ID that you need to specify, and there's an API key that goes with that. Once you've set that up, it will do the connection from here. Just to go back in here, if I go to my manage world, let me go to my queuing world, that first page. So in here, you'll see there's my user credentials that I've created. There's that FVDM that I've used for my admin ID going in there. And for my application credentials, because remember, I've got an application that's actually talking now to MQ. I've created an application credentials with the name of Demo1 to do that. As I say, I will delete all of these things and create a step-by-step demo on how to do it. I've actually looked at the previous one I've done, but this world from the MQ administration has changed quite a bit. It's a lot more advanced now than about 2 years ago. So I'll go and redo that video. Okay, back to the presentation. As usual, I've got a little bit of a new section in here. A very interesting one. I've come across. Go to this page. There's a whole article. I've really copied the first bit of it out there. But IBM had a quantum challenge out there that they've published. It ran from the May the 4th, to May the 8th. We as IBM invited people from around the world to participate in the IBM Quantum Challenge on the IBM Cloud. We devised the challenge as a global event to celebrate our 4th anniversaries of having a real quantum computer on the cloud. Over those 4 days, 1745 people from 45 countries came together to solve 4 problems, ranging from introductory topics in quantum computing to understanding how to mitigate noise in a real system, to learning about historic work in quantum cryptography, to seeing how close they could come to the best optimization result for a quantum circuit. This last one, they say, was really tough, but 574 people completed all 4 exercises correctly. Who took part? Among the problem solvers, we had students, technologists, teachers, professors, lawyers, software engineers, consultants, interns, data scientists, AI engineers, etc. Those working in the challenge joined all those who regularly make use of the 18 quantum computing systems that IBM has on the cloud, including the 10 open systems and the advanced machines available within the IBM Q network. So if you're interested in that quantum computing, go there, play around with it a little bit. This challenge, I don't know if the challenge is still open for other people to complete as well, but it seems there will be some write-up on that. We can go into a general discussion and planning for future meetings. Just for future meetings, what I've got planned at the moment is the API Connect. There's ops and monitoring. There's an interesting video we can show on that. I just could not download that video, and I don't know if it will actually play if I play in a web browser, if you guys will see the video. But I will make sure that you can go, that this link will be documented as well for the recording for this. But that is actually the demo on how to do this multi-cloud management demo on how to look at the integration world out there. Okay, so then we're into the general discussion. Anything around integration, this demo, more questions, any ideas of what you would like to see in the future? As I say, I've got a list of quite a few things that we need to do in the future. Okay, so I've got the next two sessions. I've got hopefully an API session from Chris that he can do for me. And I've got a session lined up to tell us a little bit more about OpenShift as well. So it's going to be a basic OpenShift session, just showing, and we're not trying to sell anything here, you know, so it's an information session on what is OpenShift, and we can show a short demo. So that is the two. I don't know which one is going to be next. I'm talking to both people at the moment to see, you know, when I can fit it into the diary. I don't know if Andrew is still online, but if you've got more information about that. Yes, I can hear you, Andrew.
Yeah. So I've asked our colleagues at Red Hat South Africa for a technical sort of show and tell, and I'm just waiting to confirm the dates, as we discussed, sort of in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But it is entirely sort of you know, giving people a view of the OpenShift platform, you know, what it does, run through it, that kind of thing. So yeah, focused at a technical audience.
100%. Okay, thanks, Andrew. Okay, anybody else wants to say something? Otherwise, I'm going to close the call then in a minute.